This is The Herd, hour number 3. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles. iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. Crazy week this week. Greg Jennings is going to be joining us in a couple of minutes. My man, Greg Jennings, thought the Packers, actually. I didn't want to trade grass today. I did think the Packers' first 2 picks, they had a huge need at corner. And again, everybody tells me draft value. The Packers have a really nice team, right? Like Aaron Rodgers is coming back. They need corners bad. And they went out and got 2 corners I loved. And that's what they needed to do, and that's what they did. And I really like what Green Bay did in the draft. And by the way, the Colts needed offensive linemen, and they went after those. And all these coaches, it's about value. You don't go to a store if your wife says we need milk and bring home a rake. You get the milk. That's what you need in the house. That's not saying you take a 7th-round talent in the first round. Duh. But, I mean, I watched this weekend. It was all need, and you get the best player available in the need area for your football team. So tonight, Sixers Celtics. Now, Boston has home court. I am very excited for this series. If Jaylen Brown doesn't play tonight, Sixers win. They steal home court. This series, this is one of these rare Eastern Conference series I really, really want to watch that doesn't have LeBron in it. And there's been, I don't know, none of those in the last 8 years. So I'm really excited for that. But there was a Game 7 with LeBron yesterday, so let me start there. You know what's funny about stories? You got to do your own homework. Because sometimes a story's out there, a narrative out there, and then you do your homework and you're like, well, that's not true. You ever hear that? That guy's no good. That guy's a bad guy. That guy's a bad guy. You hear it for years, then you meet the guy and you're like, I like the guy. I don't know. Where did that narrative come from? The narrative, there's always been 2 narratives with LeBron James in his career. Number one is he's talented, but he's not clutch. And the other one is, well, he's great, but he's not MJ. I'm not going to worry about that one. Let's, though, remove the first one forever. Can we? Let's get rid of that one because now it's just not true, and now we all sound like dopes when we say it, right? That part he is. He's clutch. In fact, in Game 7s, his last 5, he's not only 5-0, but his numbers elevate. He averages 34 points a game and shoots 39% from threes, and he averages almost 11 rebounds. Okay, he elevates. But there's always been that narrative, right? He's not clutch. I'll tell you somebody who's not clutch, but you, when I say his name, the first thing you think is, man, I'd want that guy shooting a jumper with no time left. Kobe Bryant, baby. Kobe is clutch. No, Kobe's not clutch. Kobe had the worst Game 7 by a superstar I've ever seen, and I've been doing this a long time. Remember against Boston? 6 for what? 24, 4 turnovers? It was Meta World Peace that saved the championship for the Lakers against Boston. Kobe was absolutely dreadful. In fact, when you go back and you look at Kobe's last 5 Game 7s, he's a B player. He averages 21 a game and shoots 37%. His averages come down significantly, 15, 20%. Kobe is not clutch. LeBron is historically clutch. I don't need to compare him to MJ, but let's not just let this thing keep floating out there. It's just not true. LeBron's 34 points, 10.5 rebounds, 40% on threes, a 50% shooter, and 5-0. He's really good late. I always hear this about Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers is talented, but everybody's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is clutch. He's only got 11 come-from-behind wins in the last 6 years. Jay Cutler has more. Joe Flacco has more. Tony Romo has more, and Tony Romo didn't play the last 2 years. Andrew Luck is clutch. Well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a defense. It's better than Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck, who didn't play last year, in the last 6 years has 17 come-from-behind wins. Aaron Rodgers has 11. Aaron Rodgers, my friends, is a lot of things. He is not clutch. The reality, we have created a narrative that is no longer true. Guys will say at a bar over a few beers, LeBron's not clutch. Do your homework. Do your own intel. Do your own due diligence. What you saw yesterday was not an aberration. It is what LeBron is in Game 7s. Absolutely, historically amazing. And he did it again. All right, it was the NFL draft. If you did not know, last Thursday I was invited to the LA Chargers draft room. I've never done that. Hope to do it again with some franchise. It was remarkable. And now, over the course of the weekend, you know what everybody does, who had the best class and who had the worst class, and that team got a B-, and that team got a C+, and that team. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you a story about my late mother, who at one point in her life was a nurse, came over from England in her early teens by herself on a boat, came over, eventually got a job as a nurse. And my mom said something very early in my life that I never forget. She said, if you have your health, you have everything. Everything else is fine. But she, as a nurse for 2 years, saw people who grew up in chronic pain. And she said, honey, if you grow up and at any point in your life, you are in pain from the minute you wake to the minute you go to sleep, she goes, it will suffocate everything else in your life. And I tell that story because everybody's grading the draft classes. And you want to know who won the draft? The teams that got franchise quarterbacks. Arizona got a kid as good as Josh Rosen at number 10. The New York Jets got the best quarterback, in my opinion, at number 3. They won the draft. Let me tell you the value of a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is worth 5 points. Over the course of a season, 16 games, that would be 80 points. Over the course of a 12-year career, could play longer, that's 960 points. J.J. Watt, Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, Gronk aren't worth a single point in any game. Jimmy Garoppolo is worth 5 a game. The 49ers were 1-10. Then he showed up. They were 5-0. They averaged 17 a game without him and 29 with him. And I know what you're saying, Colin. You said he was worth 5 points. It appears he's worth 12. No, 12 is what a great franchise quarterback is worth when he connects with a great offensive coordinator. Jared Goff was a disaster. He's a Pro Bowl level quarterback with Sean McVay. Jimmy Garoppolo with Kyle Shanahan is worth somewhere between 10 and 12 points a game. If you want to know who won the draft, who got a quarterback, you could take every linebacker in the history of this draft from USC, Ohio State, and Alabama combined. They're not worth 50 points over their careers. Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold will change the franchise. 200 people in those organizations that would have been fired will now retain employment. They'll sell tens of millions of dollars in merchandise, game day revenue, not to mention free agent wide receivers and offensive linemen. Players will choose the Jets in Arizona and Buffalo if Josh Allen can play, and Baltimore if Lamar Jackson's as great as everybody tells me. Now, once you get the quarterback right, nothing else matters. It's like my mom said, if you've got your health, you'll figure out the rest in life. No matter how much you inherit, no matter how handsome, no matter how smart, if you wake up in chronic pain, it suffocates all your other gifts. I don't know who won the draft. I mean, there were certain players that I really, really like. I think the Colts really helped their offensive line. I think the Packers did a great job and really helped their secondary. I think the Chargers' defense was good. It's going to be even better. But I look at the Jets today, and they were the butt of jokes Wednesday. I look at Arizona. I was rolling my eyes Wednesday. But I look at those teams today, and my grade is A for awesome. H for headache. No stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how great Jacksonville's defense is. Last year, there were a lot of really good defenses that didn't do anything. New England's defense and Philadelphia's in the Super Bowl Neither could stop a nosebleed, but they had quarterbacks who were spinning it. Jets in Arizona not only got stability in franchise quarterbacks, they got them an incredible value. The Jets got the best quarterback, not at the number 1 pick, not at the number 2 pick, the number 3 pick. And to get somebody as gifted as Josh Rosen at 10, that's a franchise changer at number 10. And they entered the draft with what appeared, due to their limitation of draft picks, to have no shot at changing the course of their franchise. And that's exactly what they did. Here's a guy who I wouldn't blame him if he resented those quarterbacks. A wide receiver. Boy, did wide receiver weekend long. Greg Jennings, multiple Pro Bowlers, Super Bowl. You know what? I'm going to play your therapist. If you now resent quarterbacks, I'm totally okay with it.
I don't.
4 teams moved up to get a quarterback.
That's the most important position in our game.
That is showing a lot of maturity there.
Yeah, hey, I'm a truth teller.
All right.
That's the most important position in our game.
So
quarterback.
Now, when Josh Rosen got picked, there's a little audio out there. Okay, so I'm going to play this. He's pretty intense. Here's Josh Rosen after he went number 10.
I was pretty pissed off. I fell. 1, 2, and 3 went by, and just kind of went into a blur after that. I was really angry. Teams were passing on me, and I was honestly expecting to get picked at some point and have to fake a smile and go up and pretend to be happy. But for some reason, when I got picked, all of that went away, and it just went to straight excitement and relief. There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
What do you make of that?
I love it. Absolutely love it. Are you kidding me? When you draft a guy who is going to eventually take over, who you're saying, we're drafting you to give you the keys.
Well, at least at max 1 year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And he drops. I want to know that hurt. I want to know that he is ready to go. I want to know that he's going to use that as fuel. Kind of like a guy I played with in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers dropped to number 24.
Right.
You think he didn't? He brought that up in position meetings and unit meetings.
He did?
Mike McCarthy was with the San Francisco 49ers when they took Alex Smith. He made sure Mike knew about it and that he never forgot. He never let it die.
Every year you were with Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
Every year it was a topic.
Absolutely. He's not going to let you forget about the mistake you made. He's going to rub it in you, and rightfully so. It's what fuels great players. You have things that drive you, that motivate you, that charge you up. And this is something, quite frankly, I think Josh Rosen needed it. I think he needed it. There's a lot of people that, he could have gone top 3, but his expectations were, I'm going to go top 3. I'm going to go number 1. I'm going to go. And sometimes you need some humble pie a little bit to really take a step back, but then now use that to fuel you and catapult you into having what he hopes and what we all hope for him to have.
Where did you go?
Career. 52.
Oh, so you were second round.
Yeah, second round.
Actually, from where you went to college, that's like ultimate respect.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like for me, and when it comes to being drafted, and I was just saying this to the guys in the back, had I not gone to Green Bay, did I have confidence in my ability? Absolutely. I felt like I would have been a good receiver anywhere. But where you get drafted matters.
Of course.
Where you get drafted matters. When you get drafted, no one cares about that after the draft.
So when you got drafted your rookie year, who was your quarterback?
Brett Favre.
How long did you play with Brett?
2 years.
And then you went to Aaron.
Then I went straight to Aaron. But I was in a perfect situation. I wasn't going to be the number 1 guy. Donald Driver was the number 1 guy.
Yep.
They had Robert Ferguson at the time, free agent, Ravel Martin. Who else?
Exactly. Who else?
A bunch of
They needed you. They needed you.
A bunch of guys that I was able to compete against, but see how they work.
You're so much. You know what's funny about you? You're so damn big in this video. Look how big you are. God, you look like T.O. Now you just look like an accountant. How much did you look? How big you look. You were jacked, dude. How big were you?
I was 200 pounds, 198.
That's it?
That's it.
Man, you are ripped. Now, I mean, you lose an arm wrestling match to Goulet, but
No,
God, back then.
You don't want me to take this suit jacket off. I'm telling you, let's not mistake that
Okay.
right now.
So when you look at wide receivers, though, you can make an argument it was a bad wide receiver class, but there does appear to be a narrative building that Calvin Ridley dropped a lot. He was the best wide receiver easily in this class. I mean, do you think that's speaking to wide receivers, or it was the best offensive line class I ever remember?
It was a really good offensive line class.
It was.
I mean, when you look at the receivers dropping, number one, there were 33 receivers selected in this draft. Second to, I think, linebackers. So there's still value in the receiver position. Calvin really dropping was the best thing for Calvin Ridley.
Oh, really?
He dropped to the Atlanta Falcons, where Matt Ryan loves to spread the ball around.
And he's going to be in that slot.
He's going to be in that slot. We're talking about a Calvin Ridley who would have been a number one guy had he gone most other places. But you have Julio Jones in your receiving room. You have Mohamed Sanu in your receiving room. Now you add a Calvin Ridley. My expectations are just get it done. Just when your number is called, you make plays. You're going to get opportunities.
All right.
You're going to have
By the way,
one-on-one
their backs
situations.
can catch.
Absolutely.
You can't double. Calvin Ridley will face no double teams this year.
No double teams this year. No double team next year, unless Julio Jones barring anything happens to Julio.
Greg Jennings. Okay, so New England, is telling us last week, Belichick's grumpy. It's not about need, it's about value. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. They went and got an offensive lineman, a running back for Tom, and a corner, and a slot receiver. It's like, that's funny. That's exactly what you lost. Listen, their draft looked like to me, Greg, we just want to make sure Tom's happy. That's what it looked like to me. It was now, let's take care of Tom in the spots we left. That's what it feels like to me.
It did look like that. And what's strange to me is I don't know what's going on in New England. I really don't.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I do know is that Tom Brady for years has shaken his head in agreement. Yep, I'll take a pay cut. Yes, I'll do this for the team.
Good soldier.
Absolutely. I'll be the catalyst. Everyone else will follow suit. Now, it's not that he's not shaking his head in agreement, or it's not that he's disagreeing. He's just not doing anything. He's not shaking his head anymore, saying, nope, he's sitting back, and now he's gotten guys like Rob Gronkowski to pause, make them understand, them honestly being Bill Belichick, sending a message, letting him know, look, you're the head coach, but everything doesn't just roll out when you say it rolls out. No, we have some say too.
I've said this before, Greg, is that Tom's been a really good soldier. You know what it feels like? Whether the Malcolm Butler move was right or wrong, it kind of feels like Tom said, I was a good soldier for all these years. I'm going to let you, in this controversy for like 2 months, swim in your own stuff. He didn't save. He didn't jump in with a life preserver. He may not have elevated, but it kind of felt like Tom was kind of laughing at this whole thing, saying, Bill, you're on your own.
That's my point. He never supported it. Where in years past, he's always been very supportive. Anything come out,
he was the message carrier.
Absolutely, he would say the right things.
Yep.
Now it's like he says he leaves like a little subliminal message in everything that he says that I'm not in agreement with what he did. These are my feelings on it, but I mean, the Patriots are going to always do what we do, and Bill is going to do what's best for the team.
That draft felt very Brady friendly.
It did. I feel like when it comes to the New England Patriots and that organization, it's hard to talk about them and say what they should do and what they shouldn't do.
Because they've won so much.
Because they've won so much.
But
when you look at it, the relationship between Robert Kraft and Tom Brady it's evident. It's a lot stronger than the relationship with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, if we see that video again of Greg Jennings, it's so funny. When I look at you now, I think of slot receiver.
Why?
Because you look like you're so well dressed and you're so manicured.
You're trying to be nice right now.
No, but then when I look at this video, I'm like, damn, you're just carrying guys down the field.
Yeah,
you're like Julio Jones. Look how big you look. Jeez, I don't remember that. I remember a guy that didn't drop the ball. You were very sure-handed.
Man, those were the good old days right there. Man, turn this off. I haven't gotten this excited in a long time. Man, turn this off right now.
Greg Jennings, good seeing you, bud. If you listen to our show, you know I'm always discussing the evolution within sports. You see things change. You got to embrace change. Do you think James Harden and Richard Sherman would use an outdated sports drink? They would not. That's why the top athletes today drink Body Armor sports drink. All right? Packed with electrolytes, natural flavors and sweeteners. There are no colors from artificial sources. Orange mango, pineapple coconut, strawberry banana. Body Armor is, frankly, the more natural sports drink. All you have to do is go to drinkbodyarmor.com. Drinkbodyarmor.com. Body Armor will take it from there. More natural, better hydration. That's drinkbodyarmor.com. James Harden drinks it. In fact, if you drink it, you will shoot threes like James Harden. You'll even get a step back. The refs will give you an extra half step if you drink it.